Introducing Roundabout Designer from CaddPro, software to rapidly create roundabout geometry by selecting two center lines. Here we have the main dialog where you can see we've got the Australian Austroads standard, where you can select the design speed and the design vehicle, which are used to inform the geometry. You can nominate not to have any islands, or whether you use triangular, along, or reverse curve splitter islands. Options to have 2, 3, or 4 legs, and 2 lanes or a single lane. So they're things that you can set the stage. We're going with a 19-meter reverse curve, 4-legged single lane, and then I will select the alignments. I can either do that by selecting the main, then the secondary, or both at the same time. So I'll select the main. Note that I'm selecting below the intersection point and to the right of the intersection point. The software uses that. So when I select generate the design, we have a compliant roundabout that is created. And just to show you, if we selected 3 lanes and regenerated, because that was the second alignment, it truncates that, and regenerate for 2 lanes. Remember, I select that as alignment 1, 2. So it uses the position pick on the alignment primarily for that purpose. So we'll regenerate it. You can see the content is created fairly quickly. If I select it, this is CAD geometry, but all of the data associated with the roundabout is stored against the geometric elements. There is no database that sits outside of MicroStation. The entire roundabout geometry is contained within the MicroStation file and is transported with that file. There's also design information that we can get. This has all been created, tells you what has been created, the attributes associated with what has been created, and also the parts of the Austroads standard that have been used to inform the geometry that's summarized at the top and detailed below. So you can see you've got the reporting capability there. You can also control other things within the configuration area. So to start off with, the things that are displayed can be controlled and set up as defaults. So you can draw the entry paths, and by ticking on and off various options that you want to see and how you want to see them, you can do that here. For example, you can give it more of a production look, which is, it's got the line marking managed up a little bit there, or a geometric look, which shows you some of the attributes. If you want to click on it, you can do a geometric check from within MicroStation, so the length of the islands, etc. So I'll turn those off, apply. There's also design defaults. So everything that comes up by default on the main dialog can be set up as defaults. Fairly intuitive here. There's also an option to control the exit radius with a manual override rather than derive them. I might just disable the derived, which means the default exit radius will be 100 meters. So when I regenerate it, that will show. There's some analytics here that tells you a little bit about the design, length of curbs, number of entities, even the number of clicks you've used and the amount of time you've spent to create the design. Also, the geometric output can be controlled. By default, it's base CAD entities, which you can report on and see that's a 50.3 meter arc, which we're about to override as the exit curve. But if I want, I can say I want the line marking to be connected geometry. So that's complex together. So if I select it now, apply that and then select it now, the whole of the line marking is selected. Or if I wanted to create it as a shape, I can control it. So you've got total control of how these things are are created and exist within geometry within the DGN file. So I'll save and exit. So if I regenerate those longer exit radiuses have been modeled. Not sure if you see that, but you can see the geometry appears slightly differently. There's also in-context help. So whenever you see a question mark throughout the software, online documentation is made available to you. And the dialog now is showing us certain bits of information. If I want to modify away from the generated content, I can go into this area where you can start to control things about the roundabout, the circulating width or the radius, the reverse curve geometry. So an example, you might say, hey, that nose radius is at 0.6. I want it to be 1 meter. It's within the standard. If I say it's 1.5 meters, it's outside the standard. If I hit apply, you can see what it does. It displays in red what the change will impact, and if you accept that, it shows, it models the change for you. If you show the conformance with a temporary coloring, it shows you, yes, we've modified that nose radius. It's outside the standard. There's other things that we can change here. We can influence the entry and exit curves. If we want to, say, maybe just change the exit curve on that one, I can do a proximity pick and say I want to select near that. It highlights it. It tells you where in the box it is here. And I want to say I want that one to be back at 50, which is a judgment call. It'll color it slightly differently. I'll apply, and then it will modify just that junction back. I accept, and now the color is different than the way it was represented. It's a modification away from the standard. So that applies throughout, including the fillets. You've got the various arcs here that can be influenced. And then if I exit, that takes me back to here. You can see additional information is made available there. The only other point that you could make is if I exited the system, started it again, and said instead of creating a new one, I want to open a previously created one. So we called it Roundabout 2. So if I select that, it reopens, and you'll notice it slightly changed the location. That location's determined by this ... menu, where you can zoom it to the location that you want and reset the zoom, and that's now the location. If you're coming in and out, it's nice to have some control over that. You can also rename the roundabout here if you want, and apply, and that becomes the new name of the roundabout you see here. So you've got some control. There's some communication about what version you're using, and there's access to release notes and other documentation here as well. So that pretty much gives a bit of a wrap up on what's produced. When you fire it up for the first time, there will be an introduction panel that you can dismiss. The note is this is beta software at this point, and this point is being made available freely to all people that have the engineering productivity pack. The intention is that we collect some user feedback via a special support email. All that will be in the documentation for you, and we welcome any suggested improvements, enhancements, so that we can make it even better than it is ahead of our first commercial release of the product. But at the moment, everyone has free access as an EPP, engineering productivity package solution, to evaluate its suitability and provide feedback for us to improve it. Thank you for your interest, and we look forward to hearing from you.